Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very influential episode on Rewired Radio. I'm your host, DJ Drew.
And I'm Coral, your favorite event planner.
And today's guests are three digital social media influencers and content creators, two of which are about to get hitched, and one has already tied the knot. And they're here to share their journey with us today. So without any further delay, let's welcome Ari, Kira, and Erica.
Hi.
How you doing, ladies? Pleasure to have you all with us today.
Thanks for
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to be here.
We're excited to have you, and I can see we have 4 social media influencers, one DJ, so clearly I'm outnumbered here.
Well,
and
you could be a social media influencer if you wanted.
I'm going to stick to what I'm good at.
We'll
right
teach
now.
you the ropes.
Yeah.
Teach you the ropes?
Yeah, we will.
I would love to know. Honestly, I would love to know how to gain more followers and just what it's all about. But again, I'll just stick to what I'm good at right now. But pleasure to have you, and we're excited to share your journey with us today.
Yes. If you guys want to do a little introduction for our viewers listening in right now.
Sure. My name is Ari. I am based out of Newport Beach, and I'm getting married in Palm Springs in March. So it's coming up.
Woohoo.
So excited. My name is Kira. I'm from LA and I've been engaged for about a year and we don't have a date yet.
I'm Erica. I'm from Fullerton, and I've been married since June 2019.
Woohoo. Well, we are so excited to have you guys on today's episode. It's a little bit different than what we're normally used to, but I'm so excited. So aside from being in the wedding industry, if you guys already don't know, I am a social media content creator. So I decided to bring my Instagram friends on the show to kind of give you all the behind the scenes ins and outs of wedding planning. So that's going to be a pretty good episode. I'm sorry, Drew, but you could just pretend you're an influencer today.
I'm an influencer today.
Sounds good. You know, cheers to that.
Cheers.
Your shirt is great.
Thank you
Where's
so
it
much.
from?
The safaris in Africa, as you can tell.
Like actually from Africa.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, it's actually from Africa.
No, it's
We love
actually
that.
from Nordstrom's, but yeah, close enough.
We can pretend.
No one had to know that. Awesome.
Well, hey, we thought we'd start off the show by sharing some of your photos. I see you got some engagement photos, so I thought we'd start it off with that and just show some of the highlights.
Yeah, just tell us about this moment if you see your photo.
That's you, Ari.
Literally beautiful.
So that is me. That was our engagement photos at Balboa Park in San Diego. And
Oh.
yeah, we planned it. I planned this photo shoot out for like months. Had a vision for
It
it.
looks like it's from Pinterest. So
Yeah,
yeah,
thank
good
you.
job.
I love
That
the one
was
in the
the
middle,
vision.
too.
Yeah.
That's a
Thank
great shot in the
you.
middle right there.
Thank you. Yeah, our photographers are absolutely amazing. So they killed it.
Awesome.
My now fiance set up a dinner with both of our families, so we don't have great photos. They're pretty grainy and I was really drunk and I regret it. Would not recommend, but it turned out good. It was very memorable.
Oh.
This is me and my husband now. We were in Denver, and we actually did this on a tripod. These are engagement photos.
On a
I-
tripod?
on a tripod with like professional photo. I did a lot of
Wow.
like elopement photos pre-Instagram, so I knew how to edit and take our own shots. And so we just did this out of our own budget. We got engaged in Paris.
No way.
This was in the
Literally beautiful.
Trocadero in Paris, a little viewing platform of the Eiffel Tower in the back. We were on a 10-day European vacation with his family, so his sister actually took this shot, and yeah,
Oh.
I was very unexpected, and my first words were, no, 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 no. It wasn't the ring I envisioned, but it's
Oh,
okay. It's still pretty.
Wait, I love that.
That's so funny.
You can't say no in Paris, though.
Oh, I did.
That's true.
He remembers
No
it.
way.
And you kind of like during that moment almost black out.
Yeah.
When they're
Completely.
proposing, you're
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're on a knee. Like I know what's happening, but like what is happening?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be
Okay.
like a dream moment for you, right?
I blacked out. Honestly, I blacked out. I don't even know what I said after no. Obviously, yes. But it was
Obviously,
very
you're here.
unexpected.
Like out of shock or
Out
something?
of shock. I was shocked. Yeah.
Like just seeing the Eiffel Tower, him dropping to one knee. You were
Yeah,
just like, what's going on?
This was like our first day. We only had 24 hours in Paris. And so we were
Oh.
hitting the ground running. This was before like the sun was just rising. So I was probably jet lagged and just like,
Yeah.
What's going on
tired.
here?
Yeah. I can't
Aw.
believe this. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. That's a beautiful photo
Yeah.
right there.
Thanks.
So, Ari, You are getting married in a few months.
Woohoo!
I'm sure you're very, very excited right now.
Yes.
What are you most excited about, and what are you least excited about?
Okay, most excited. I am just so ready to be married. As obvious as that sounds, we have been engaged for quite a while now. We got engaged in August of 21. And so we had kind of planned to have a long engagement just with like COVID and everything. We wanted to be sure, that we could have a wedding at that point. So we planned it that way, but I didn't realize when we planned out a long engagement how ready I would be to get it done. Like, I'm just so excited to marry my person and just like have that day. I feel like I've built it up so much in my head at this point. So I'm just so excited for the actual day and to actually like be married. And then least excited, I honestly would just say like just all the stress of wedding planning. We actually had our wedding planner who we've been working with for the past year plus cancel on us.
Oh.
And so it's just been, we're like 3+ months out. And so there's just a million things to do. And I think, that stress, obviously with the planner, but just everything leading up to it, I feel like there's so much pressure. And so I'm trying to make my way through all that.
Is your wedding planner taking off some of that stress?
Yes. So we found a new wedding planner, which I'm so excited about. We just hired her last week. So
Why did the first one drop off? You don't mind me asking?
I think
that's maybe a different podcast, Drew.
I'm just curious why.
Just I guess difference in styles.
Gotcha.
Yes, but we found a new one who I'm really excited about.
Cool.
But I think it's just that pressure of being so close, and it seems like there's a million things to do like every day. I was just talking with my fiance the other day about how I was like, I don't remember the last time we like sat down and like watched Netflix or something. Like every single day after work, there's like decisions to be made and things to do and invitations to send and whatever. So, it's all exciting, but I am just so ready to like get to the day and be married.
It's so worth it. You have a couple more
Mhm.
months, but I promise the stress is so worth it when you just see your thing that you've been planning for a year and a half just come to life. And obviously you get to marry your significant other, and nothing is better than that. So I'm so excited for you. So let's say, you're in the beginning stages of, you just got engaged, you're in the beginning stages of, planning a wedding. For any girlfriend listening in, if she really wants to be engaged, what advice would you tell basically anyone listening to tell their boyfriends that they're ready for the ring?
Casually airdrop a photo of the ring that you want.
Oh,
So
is that what you
casual.
did?
No.
Oh.
But really close. Okay, so I showed him my Pinterest board of the rings that I wanted, and I was like, what do you think of this? And he was like, that's the style you want? So I'm like, okay,
Oh,
well,
so he
that's
knows.
that's a better reaction than, wait, you want to be engaged? I think like making a joke out of it though is a really good way to like break the tension of like,
Mhm.
hey, like when is this happening? So it went over really well, and we ended up, laughing about it later.
Yeah.
But
So kind of making a joke to break the ice and then being like, yeah, well, I'm serious. Like, I'm ready. Awesome. Well, I'm going to tell people to just airdrop a photo of a ring.
Probably
make
the
it the right
simplest,
one.
easiest, cheapest way to do it, right? Just like airdrop it. There it is.
He's
If you
like,
don't get
what
that
is
hint,
this? Yeah.
You got to be direct.
oh yeah, save the photo and reference it for when they're shopping. So it's
Yes.
perfect.
and you have the
Yes.
exact ring you airdrop too, right? It's like, it better be
Exactly.
that one, nothing else.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
making
gosh.
it easy for you. Like you don't have to
Yes.
think about it.
Right, right.
And sometimes you need to do that to guys. Sorry, Drew.
Why are you pointing at me?
You're the
Like, I
only
would
guy
get the
here.
hint. Like, I would get the hint. All right. So airdrop, ring, make it pretty straightforward. All right. So let's say he pops the questions. You're engaged. Now, Erica, you've already been there. You've done it. Once you've been engaged, what's the first thing that you should do?
I honestly think you should just enjoy the engagement. Take as
Mhm.
long as you want to really enjoy that new chapter in your guys' lives. But then I would say next, make a rough draft of like your guest list, because then you'll want to know what size venue you'll need. And securing that venue is so key so early on, because all of them get booked up so far in advance, especially like during the prime season. So that's what I would recommend.
That's true. And we've had a lot of planners here as well
Mhm.
confirm that the first thing you should probably do is book the venue. You want to find what's in your budget,
Right.
how many guests that it'll be able to fit in.
Mhm.
And, I'm sure you also want to find something on your date as well. And date is super important. People get
Yeah.
too fixated on dates, I feel
Mhm,
like.
mhm.
What was a popular one this
It was
year?
like the 2, 2, 2, 2,
there
2.
you go, like 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
Yeah, we just had 11, 11, 22.
Which is weird too, because it lands like right in the middle of the week, but people get so
Yeah.
fixated on a date that they want it. And those venues get booked up pretty fast.
Mhm. Totally. I agree. Yeah, that's like the first thing to do, but definitely enjoy the engagement. I do agree
Yeah.
with you on that.
Yeah.
Because I also had a long engagement and
Mhm.
I don't regret it at all.
Mhm.
Totally.
Because I know people that get engaged and they plan a wedding within 6 months. And I ask them like what they kind of regret is just being engaged and spending that time together as like a fiance.
Mhm.
Because like you're only a fiance for 6 months and then you're like, oh, husband and wife, whatever.
Yeah,
You know, I'm just
yeah.
kidding. I'm literally still calling my now husband fiance.
Are you really?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
why.
cute.
I just got used to that, and then
You don't
now
call
he's
him
a husband.
hubby?
Well, sometimes if I remember. Like I was texting someone, I was like, "Oh, my fiance and I will be there," and I was like,
Wait a minute.
"They're like, oh, do you have a husband and a fiance?"
It's funny too, because you're engaged for so long that you refer to them as your
Yeah.
fiance.
Yeah. Well, and then they're your boyfriend for years before that, so
True.
they have all these names, and we're just the female.
You'll get used to it.
Yeah, I hope so. Right?
You will.
Totally. So I have a question for you, Ari. So, what's something they don't tell you about wedding planning that every couple should know that you've learned?
I feel like there's two things I would say. One is budget wise. I think that like you hear when you're like before you get engaged how expensive weddings are, and you're like, okay, cool. Like cross that bridge when we get there. Weddings are really expensive, but they really are like that expensive,
Especially
especially
here.
right now.
Especially here in
Mhm.
California too.
California is like out of control. I mean,
Right.
Southern California, Palm Springs specifically, like,
Oh.
what have I done to myself? But I think that like it's getting better. Like I think there's more transparency now, like on wedding TikTok, and people are talking about it more. But I think that was something I had no idea going into it. Like just the reality of prices. And I think that's really important for people to like go into it knowing, in order to avoid stress down the line of like having to adjust your budget or like cut people out of your guest list that you really want to be there because of cost. So I think like that is a really important piece of like starting out. Like
Mhm.
when you create your guest list, like look into pricing, figure out your budget, who's contributing. Are you and your partner going to be paying for it? Are parents helping? Whatever the case may be. And then the other thing I would say is there's a lot of stress that goes into wedding planning, as we've said already, with like budgeting, family dynamics, all of that. And I think that there's this idea that like being engaged and wedding planning is like the happiest time of your life, which it is in a sense. Of course, it's like such an exciting time. But I also think that it is also like a very stressful time in a lot of ways, and that like it's okay to be stressed. Like I feel like there's this idea that like, oh, it's like such a happy time, like you shouldn't be stressed. And I feel like that can like be very confusing when you're engaged. You're like, wait, I'm so happy, but I'm also so stressed. Like what's going on? So I think just like being okay and realizing that like you're gonna feel all the feels when you're engaged, and that like whatever you're feeling is okay.
Coral, when did that feeling die down for you?
The stress?
Yeah, the stress.
The day of the wedding.
like the day of, or like after the ceremony was over?
So it was weird because I really wasn't stressed out the day of the wedding. I was, obviously, you saw me up until,
Yeah.
but like once rehearsal hit and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like it's
Mhm.
finally here. And I think just because I'm in the industry, so going to a wedding wasn't new for me. And I think everyone was like, why aren't you stressed out? This is your wedding. Like, why are you happy? And because I was in work mode. Like I was
Yeah.
ready to like be there to plan a wedding when this was my own wedding. And I think once I did a first look with John and I saw John, I was like, oh crap, this is my wedding. And then I was kind of like, okay, the nerves are coming. And then once the ceremony is done, then it's just time to celebrate and have a good time. But yeah, it is a stressful time, and it's okay to be stressed. It is okay to be stressed, but you're also very happy. And
Totally.
sad and mad and excited and all the feelings.
A lot of emotions.
A lot of emotions, and you have a lot of wine nights to kind of relieve that stress.
Well, there you go. It's a good
Yeah.
tip right there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Kira, there's a lot of traditional things that happen during weddings. Are you planning on doing any
Ooh.
non-traditional things
I love
for
this
your
question.
wedding?
Yeah.
This is such a good question. And what I thought was non traditional, I'm finding out is maybe not that uncommon as I thought. But we are thinking about eloping before we actually get married, just so it's more intimate and personal. And I feel like I would be embarrassed, like professing my love in front of tons of people. Like, I just don't think I could do it. So we were thinking maybe getting eloped, doing a really cool, like, creative photo shoot wherever we decide to go. We were thinking the desert, maybe Vegas, something where it's a really good memory just for the both of us to share that we don't have to feel like is performative for the rest of our family, and then having a second wedding after, or a celebration, or something along the lines where it's more traditional and we can also have that experience and give that experience to our families. And so yeah.
So you want to do something intimate first and then something with your friends and family afterwards?
Yeah.
Which
I like
I've been
that.
seeing a lot more of, which it's like, it's hard because it's like, yeah, traditional weddings, you have, the ceremony in a church and then you have the reception afterwards. But a lot of people are like, I'm just going to elope and then I'll just have a party to celebrate after. And I tell them, it's your wedding. You could do whatever you want. It's your money. You could do whatever you want. So
Yeah, I like that a lot.
go to Vegas
That'd
and
be
have
fun.
Elvis marry you.
I'm really thinking like Kourtney Kardashian, Travis
Yes,
Barker. That's the vibe.
yes.
Like, I just think that would be such a good memory to share.
Yes. And the
So we'll
photos would
see.
be amazing just
Oh,
to have.
I have the whole shoot in my head, and I was gonna keep it secret, but I don't think I can because I'm
Spill
so
it,
excited about
spill
it.
it,
Spill it on,
Yeah.
on
Okay.
Rewired
Spill it
Radio
on our
here.
podcast.
Okay, so the photo shoot vibes are like old vintage cars, and then going to a
Ooh.
diner, letting them know ahead of time so we can set it up, and like feeding each other like pancakes with like syrup, and like really making it a lot of fun and a good memory. And then going on like a little like road trip in the desert, maybe staying at like an Airbnb and having like a mini honeymoon. Because I need to have 2 honeymoons, like really like take
Of
advantage
course.
of
Yeah,
them.
one
Yeah.
is-
Makes
one is
sense.
not enough.
So that's what we're thinking, and I'm surprised he agreed to it, but he seemed on board, so I think that's the plan.
Yes.
So vintage cars, pancakes, trip to the desert, and then a
Two
honeymoon.
honeymoons.
2 honeymoons.
Two
Yes,
honeymoons,
of
yeah.
course.
I
Why
like
not?
it. I like it.
Sounds like
Exactly.
incredible.
I know.
Why didn't I do that?
I need 2 honeymoons.
Ari's like, I need to
Honestly,
rethink this
still
whole
my
thing right now.
honestly, if it wasn't too late, I would.
4 months. Let's see what we can do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love that. I love that whole idea. Erica, looking back, obviously you're already married. It's been a couple years. If you were to change anything and you're getting married in 2023, what would you tell couples out there that you would do differently? Or what would you tell Ari and Kira?
I think what you guys are doing now is amazing, and Ari, you're doing fantastic. I definitely would recommend the wedding planner for sure, and a day of coordinator
Mhm.
for your wedding. It's just so important to have like all that extra relief like taken off of you, all that extra stuff like off. Because I didn't have a wedding planner. I did that all myself.
Oh my gosh.
And I barely met my day of coordinator like the day before. So she had no idea what my timeline was. And my wedding was like a disaster. It felt like in my head, just because like we didn't have that time to spend together, and it was just like a rush day. So I mean, I think that's like definitely take your time with them and really give like your expectations to them and make sure you're on the same page, because I think that's just like so important and will truly make your day like so much better.
Well,
That's
I
such good
agree.
advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, planner's super important.
yeah.
As
really
a wedding
important.
planner, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Ari, you're getting married in 4 months. So it's going to fly by pretty fast. What are you doing now to prepare for the next 4 months?
Mm.
Yes. It feels like there's a million things to do. We just sent out our invitations, which
Oh my god.
is really exciting. We DIY'd them and they turned out so cute. And so we just did that. We need to still hire our rentals, which is like top priority on my mind. I feel like we're very behind. So Kira, don't wait. Don't procrastinate.
Too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
It's like too late.
So yeah, I mean, rentals and signage are the last two vendors that we still have to book. I'm debating doing our signage ourselves. We'll see what it comes down to. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of like vendors. And then I feel like from there, I'm just there's a million little decisions to make. Like, you know, what is the flower girl basket gonna be? Like, you know, what like color pocket square the grooms, it's just like a million little decisions. So I feel like now it's starting to be like crunch time. And I'm creating like a little beauty timeline for myself. So it's just like little things like that that I feel like I'm starting to do now, which is kind of the fun part. Like, I love the details. I have like 12,000 Pinterest boards for like every little thing. So I feel like this is like my time to shine now.
Yes. And it's all the little things too that honestly you really can't do until closer. Like if you have your groomsmen go pick out their outfits and like they have to hold on to this for like 6 months, they're gonna forget it on the day of. Like that's something you do last minute anyways. But yeah, you're doing good.
Thanks.
You could be a wedding planner.
I really should be.
Come join my team.
She's like, I'm
Don't
reconsidering.
tempt me with a good time.
It's like I'm reconsidering my whole career right now.
I know. Just everything you've been doing, what I've been seeing on Instagram, like your wedding Wednesdays. I'm just like, girl, she's got this.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
If you need an opening, Coral's hiring.
Starting next year, I have a couple weddings. Let's go.
Hey, I would love to. I seriously just love like the design and like all the details. It's so much fun.
Yes.
So, Coral, you're in
See
the
a
right
little sparkle
industry.
in your eye.
I might hit you up.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, wedding planning isn't complete. I know this is a really good topic for you without endless white bridal looks. Kira, please tell people listening in, where's the best place to buy white outfits? Because I already bought a million, and I know you bought a million.
Oh yeah.
But people listening in really don't know where to shop sometimes. And so I think this is a good question to ask.
It's a little bit complicated. Well, okay, so I went to school for fashion design, so I really want
Oh.
to make my own dress. But or thrift it and alter it.
Oh my
But
gosh.
Revolve has really cute, like if you are having your wedding dress and then a separate dress for the reception, they have the cutest short dresses. And I also really love the bars dresses for like an after ceremony kind of outfit. But those would be my go-tos.
Is that your
for sure.
second outfit that you're going to change into?
I've thought about it. Well, since we're having two, I have lots of outfits to plan. So we'll see how it comes together.
That's amazing though that you are thinking about literally making your own wedding gown. That's incredible. Well, it makes sense. You went to school for fashion. You might as well show what you
I
learned.
know, and I just feel like it would be that much more memorable to make it.
Yes.
We'll see what I can pull off. It's very hard to make wedding dresses. There are so many details, but I've even, thought of maybe just like thrifting a dress from the Real or like vintage resellers.
Mhm.
Like Dior has really great dresses, but they're so expensive, obviously. So buying them secondhand and then, adding your own little touches to it, I think could be really special. And I think like even doing custom veils would be really nice. Like if you can figure out how to embroider like your names into the back of the veils, I think that would be so cute.
Yes.
So something along the lines of that.
Well, I
be
can't
really
wait to
special.
see what
Yeah.
that turns out to be. That's going to be gorgeous. Right, Drew?
Absolutely.
All about the dresses.
Custom name in the veil?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. We'd love to see some photos of that afterwards.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely. Oh, there will be so many photos.
I'm sure there
There
will.
will be. It's gonna be a whole photo event. Like
We're Instagram content creators, Drew. Come
Yeah,
on.
oh, I
we got this.
Don't doubt it. I'm sure there's going to be tons. So, Erica, you have already been there. As you know, weddings can be very expensive. What do you think is worth the money and what is not worth it?
Like I said, wedding planners, 100% worth it.
Yes.
I'm not being sponsored by Coral or anything, but I think that would make the biggest difference on your wedding day. Like I said, make it very seamless and easy for the bride. But I would also say spend money on a good photographer/videographer if you want to do a video. I went the cheap route with my photographer, and he's only done one wedding prior to our wedding. So he didn't even have a shot list. And we even missed like our family photo. Like my immediate family, we never got a photo together because after the ceremony, you kind of just disperse, go to happy hour, and no one really stays around. So we kind of just missed that boat and just got photos with whoever we could find there at the altar. But if you had a good photographer, I'm sure things would definitely change, and they would say, stick around, take your family photos, then go have fun. Maybe, spend or save a little bit more on your flowers and your decorations. I feel like you can definitely DIY your flowers. That's what we did for our wedding. A good friend actually went to the LA flower market, and got all the flowers for us, did the arrangement herself. That was her wedding gift to us. And we just saved so much money that way. We just spent the money on the flowers. And I also did like my own signage too, like the wedding guest seating. I made it out of like, wood, and like painted it and did like a little, like hanging thing. And so I think that's worth it, because to be honest, guests probably don't care that much about it. It's more for
Yeah.
like your vision, your Pinterest board. But after that, they're just sitting in the garage now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's true.
true.
But
It's so
I
true.
care.
Yeah, exactly. I care on that
But
day.
you're right. It's literally just sitting in the garage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, things like that, like you mentioned, a lot of people don't notice them.
Mhm.
You do, of
Right,
course,
right.
but those are all things that keep adding up and
Mhm,
cost you more money. So you kind of got to take, consideration of what is really worth spending money on and
Right.
what, you might not have to spend money on, or do it
Exactly.
yourself.
Right. And it's fun
DIY.
too. You can do it with friends, do it with your bridesmaids, have like a wine night and paint.
Mhm. Or make it a date night
Yeah.
and drag
Yeah.
your fiance to do it with you.
That's
Even
so
though they're
sweet.
not the best helpers sometimes. It depends on what it is.
Yeah.
Like my husband now was very involved with like the food tasting,
The fun stuff.
asking the
food.
groomsmen, celebrating that.
Shout out to John
the
up there
outfit.
for worrying about the important stuff.
Yeah. There's this TikTok that I don't know if it's like going around anymore, but it was like you walk into your wedding like ceremony or your reception. It was like, dang girl, this is nice. That was literally John on the day of our wedding. Like, wow, you did so good. It looks great. I'm like, yeah, it's our wedding. But yeah.
And
so
he
it's
takes
funny.
credit for it too,
Oh,
right?
of course.
He's like,
yeah.
I did all this.
Yeah. Well, now that I have his last name, we're a duo. So
There you go.
yeah. Well, Ari, number one question that I get actually as a wedding planner is how do I tell guests they cannot bring a +1? Do you have any advice on this?
Yes, we just went through this because we just sent our invitations. So, for context, we are really trying to limit our guest count. We're trying to keep it as small as possible, which is like probably going to be around like 100 people because my
Okay.
fiance has a big family. So, we're doing no kids. We're doing like +1s only for people that have been in serious relationships, like live together or are married.
Mhm.
And so we went through this with a lot of people where like we're not giving them a +1 or like their kids aren't invited. And so we did a couple things on the invitations when we addressed them, like on the envelope, we wrote like to like the actual people that are invited. If their kids aren't invited, we didn't put and family, like it was only addressed to the people that are invited. And then when they opened up the invitation, on the invitation, it said, we have reserved blank amount of seats for you. And then I filled in like the number of people that are
That is
invited.
so
That's so
smart.
So there's no confusion.
Yeah. and there's
Um,
only 2 people on your invite
yeah.
list, not 4.
I was really trying to figure out a way of doing this like in a, I don't know, in a sensitive way. Like I didn't want it to come across as rude, but I didn't want people showing up, with their kids or with their girlfriend that they met yesterday. So those were 2 things we did on the invitations, and then also on the wedding website, we have a whole Q&A section, and on it one of the questions was like, can I bring a +1? And then I explained, due to venue constraints, we are limiting the guest count. If you do have like whoever your envelope is addressed to for your invitation is who is invited.
Mhm.
For the kids thing, we said we encourage you to think of our wedding as a date night away from the kids. And so we tried to kind of make it fun. We did get
Yes.
some complaints from family already, but I think it's just, part of it.
Yeah.
And we tried to put it in like 3 different ways. So hopefully it was clear to people.
Hopefully 3 is enough.
Hopefully 3 is enough.
Yeah, especially the kid thing. Like,
Yeah.
I had no kids at my wedding too, and I made it a fun thing for people coming. have a night off of your children. Go get a babysitter or drop them off at grandma's, you know, like have a good night out. Because I've seen weddings where kids are screaming during like the I do part, and I would have cried. So yeah, not a vibe.
Yeah.
And I think it just depends. Like if you like, it depends on everyone's family is different.
Yeah.
Like in our family, we really don't have that many kids.
Same.
And I mean, we're having only kids that are in the bridal or the wedding party are going to be there. So like my niece and nephew are the ring bearer and flower
Yeah.
girl, but everyone else is, you know,
yeah,
it's
in
no
that case, if they
Yeah.
play some kind of
Yeah.
role during
Right.
the wedding, sure.
Right. So I think it just depends. And like if you have a family with like a ton of kids and everyone is going to like be so upset if there aren't kids, like maybe that's something in your family like you want to think about and invite the kids. I think everyone is different. So
Totally.
You know, it's even weirder than bringing a baby to the wedding.
I've
Like,
seen it.
See, I did too.
Mhm.
Just this past weekend, someone was giving a toast and there was a crying baby during the
Oh.
toast.
no.
It's like, why? Why do you bring a baby to a wedding? But I don't know. For
To
some
each
reason, they just
their
got to bring
own,
them, I
you
guess.
know?
I
Jeez.
suppose. Kira, I've already asked Ari this question, but what are you most excited and what are you most nervous about for your upcoming wedding?
Mhm.
I am so excited to plan it. Like, I also love planning events. The whole process and like being creative really inspires me. And I just feel like it's going to be so much fun. I'm really excited to meet with videographers and photographers. The photos and the videos are going to be so important to me because of those memories. I would say least excited is I don't know how to put it, like maybe like the execution of the day, because I'm gonna have to get past this, but I feel like the whole time I'm gonna be thinking like, is everyone having fun? Like, is everyone enjoying themselves? And just like being able to like get out of my head and like get into the moment, I think is gonna be something I'm gonna be like struggling with. But overall, I'm excited for all of it and getting like more of a chance for our families to spend time together because they live pretty far away from each other and they've met a few times, but really just bringing our families together, I think, is going to be really special on the actual day.
And to take some of the stress off everybody having fun, I highly suggest hiring a good DJ.
I thought you were gonna say wedding planner. I was ready to go like this.
No, we're more fun.
But yes, honestly,
No.
hiring a good DJ,
Yeah.
it makes
Yeah.
or breaks the night.
It really does.
Yeah.
It'll make or break your party. And I get that question asked a lot too. People want to make sure that they're having a fun night, not just for them, but for all their guests. And that's where the DJ role comes in to make sure that everybody's having a good time and engaging with the crowd as well. Even
so
adding some
true.
games in there would be fun too. You know, that kind of
Oh,
gets
that's a
people
good
engaged.
idea.
Yeah.
Like what kind of games?
Like the shoe game would be a fun
Oh, yeah.
one. That's kind of between you and your hubby.
What is
but
that?
the shoe game is basically where you take turns. Someone takes turns asking you and your husband questions, and you're sitting back to back in chairs. You have your shoes off, and someone asks you a number of questions like, "Who's the better cook?" or "Who takes longer in the shower?" Who's the better driver? Who said "I love you" first? And based on those answers, you raise that person's shoe. And because you guys can't see each other, but the crowd can see you, so they know what your answer is. So it's a very engaging game. It gets a good laugh out of the crowd. And I find it to be one of the more fun games for weddings.
That's really cute. He better say I'm the best driver and the best cook. Otherwise, it's off.
We're turning this day around.
Yeah, it kind of really tests you to see how well you two know each other, too.
Yeah. And it was funny because I've seen a couple and they had the wrong answers the whole time. Like she would be
No.
like, oh, it's like, who likes sports better? And they like both guessed each other. And it's like, oh, who's a better cook? And they both guessed each other. It was never the same.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, it's kind of awkward.
Yeah, you guys don't really know each other
Yeah,
very well.
Yeah. But I don't know if they were just doing that to like make each other happy. But I'm like, you guys can't see each other anyways. It's for the guests.
And that's the fun part about
Yeah.
it. You can't even see each other's answers. You just raise the shoe and you're sitting back to back. So that's a fun game that always gets people engaged.
I do love that.
I'm so doing that.
Yeah.
Yes. And you get to show off your nice shoe, right?
True. So pick out cute shoes
Right?
for the day.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously, we've talked about wedding planning being stressful, being exciting, being the most exciting time of your life. And basically, for that year or year and a half that you're engaged, it's basically your entire world and planning. And just like you said, it's like you don't have time for Netflix anymore because I have to catch up on all my vendor emails and just, stay organized, go through my checklist. So Erica, now that obviously you've been married for a couple years, and once that wedding is done, there's this thing called post-wedding blues. Did you ever experience that? And if so, how did you and your husband get through it?
I don't think I truly experienced the blues, but planning your wedding day, there's so many emotions. You're stressed, you're crying, you're happy, you're sad. It's a lot of emotions. And after the wedding, you're like, okay, now what? Like we're married? Great. We didn't go on our honeymoon right after either. We went 6 months after we got married. And so I think having those like little date nights, still making it special between the two of you is so important. And I think that's what helped us make sure that like our marriage was like special, not just like, oh, it's the wedding. Okay, great. So we also look back on our photos as well from the wedding day. We're like, oh, remember this time and what we were doing, what song we were dancing to. We did a little line dancing moment at our wedding because we love country music.
Cute.
And so all of our
Nice.
family got up there and just like, I like send all the dances ahead of time. Like, hey, everyone do this line dance, know it. And so that's what we did. And just like reflecting on the old footage that we got. So it's just reliving those special moments, just really, bring you out of that funk.
Yeah.
Are you glad you took a little break between the wedding date and your honeymoon?
I think so. We wanted to make sure our honeymoon was also special as well, and planning it during like a peak season too. Making sure that where we wanted to go, the weather was great, and making sure all of our family members could join us as well on the honeymoon, which we did.
Oh, wow.
So we went like on a month-long trip to Europe through Italy, and so my parents were able to join us like to the second half of our honeymoon. We enjoyed the first half, so it was very fun. And I'm
Literally
glad.
goals. That's
Yeah,
so
it
fun.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of couples leave like within 24 hours of their wedding date for their
Yeah.
honeymoon, and it's like, don't you want a little time to relax a little?
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Have a
glad we
breather.
did. Yeah.
That's cool. So, Coral, I actually have a question for you since
For
you've been there.
me?
Yes, you. Since you've been there and done it, what is a suggestion you have or some advice that you have for couples also planning their wedding?
Ooh, this is a really good open-ended question. I could go a whole nother podcast episode on it, of course. Just basically overall advice for, I guess, the planning and kind of the day of is don't stress about the little things. Don't stress about the little things.
Tell me again.
Yeah. Don't stress about the little things. Just because the most important part of your wedding is that you're getting married to your significant other, and that's why you're there. And so, like, let's say your flowers didn't really look like how they want or how you thought they were going to look. Don't stress about it. No one knows what you thought they were supposed to look like. All they know is that it looks beautiful on the table and that you're getting married to your significant other. So that's the number one important thing that I tell people for the day of. For the planning process, try not to stress yourself out too much where it's no longer fun. And if it gets to that point, for anyone listening in, that's when you do hire a wedding planner, just because planning is not for everybody. Organization is not for everybody. So have someone to help you that has experience to kind of do that. And obviously you have a planner, so you can put things on her now that you're 4 months out. So now you can kind of enjoy some little things. But yeah, don't stress about the big things. And if you are too stressed, hire a wedding planner and a good DJ.
And a good photographer.
And a good photographer. Yeah,
Those
totally.
are really the three most important elements.
Yeah.
Yeah. And throughout our podcast episodes, we've learned that too. Like the most important vendors are.
There's
usually
three
those
important
three.
vendors you should get. It's a DJ, planner, and a photographer.
Yeah. Because everything else can kind of come together. And another thing that you brought up was worrying about what your guests think the day of. And I totally did that. Like we had a upstairs portion and I was literally upstairs with John, like looking over like, oh, do you think so-and-so's having fun? Or like, oh, why is he by himself? Like he should be drinking or whatever. And I shouldn't have done that, but that's just the person I am because I wanted to have a whole performance for everybody else. But then I had to step back and be like, no, this is for me. I should be having fun. So try not to do that either, even though I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
Sure, everybody's going to have a great time, both your weddings. So, Coral, before we cap it off, I think it's time we play a little game. What
I
do you
know we
think?
kind of talked about doing some games like for your wedding, but it'd be fun to do one right now.
Let's do it.
I may or may not have put one together.
Let's do it.
So we've done this on the show before. So basically it's a drinking game. Sorry guys, we have our Veuve Rosé. But I'm going to say something that happens at weddings, and then I will count down, and either if we like kind of agree with it, we'll say yes, or if we don't agree with it, we'll say no, all at the same time. And let's say Drew and I are the only two that say no, but all you three say yes. We're outnumbered, so then we have to drink. Okay?
Okay.
It's pretty
Sounds
easy
good.
stuff.
Exciting.
Yes. So I will start by number 1 is kids at a wedding. 3, 2, 1.
No.
Did someone say yes? Ah! So first drink, take a sip. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I want to know why yes, kids at a wedding.
I completely agree with you guys. I can understand why people would absolutely not want to. The reason I would is because I've been to weddings where the little kids are dancing and it gets more people to dance.
That is
And
true.
dancing with the little kids is just so much fun. Like, I just love them.
Yep.
You know what? You make such a good point.
Yep.
They do. They're usually the first ones up on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Even during cocktail hour while everyone is
They're so
drinking.
ready.
they're dancing on the dance floor and I'm just enjoying them.
And like, so many people are so shy to go dance, and the little kids, they don't care. So they're
Yeah.
just like dancing however, and it really gets more people to like get out there and enjoy it.
That's
You make
a
a
good
good
one.
point.
Yeah.
You make a good point.
I know.
All right. So that's one benefit of having kids at weddings.
The one.
Okay, well, question number 2. First look. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
No. What'd you say? Yes?
Yes.
No. Okay. Tell us. We'll drink. and then
Wait,
tell us
sorry.
why.
First look at. Wait, can you explain? I want to make sure I'm
Yes.
thinking of the right
So
thing.
first look is you see each other before ceremony even starts. So it's usually that like those photos that you see when they tap on the shoulder and then they turn around and you see each other before the ceremony. To
Okay.
1, help relieve that stress, and 2, get that time to take photos before ceremony. Not doing a first look, that first time would be walking down the aisle and seeing each other.
Oh, yeah, no, like I want him to be so shocked. He should be crying. Like if he's not crying because I look so good, like I will turn around. Like
So the question is, do you want him to see you first or do you want him to see you walking down the aisle?
walking down the aisle.
Okay.
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 So your
that-
answer
so
remains the
drinking.
same.
So
drink
no
up.
to first look. Yeah. Oh, I love that. But that's true because I was worried about that as well. But I got emotions from both of them. And
Interesting.
my husband's not super emotional. Like he cries like 2 times a year. I was gonna say 3, but he probably would get mad at me if I said that. But when I did first look, he was like more like, "Wow, you look stunning. This is our wedding. You look amazing. Oh my gosh, hug me!" Like all this stuff. And then ceremony, he was like, "This is real. Like this is legit." And then he doesn't like to say it, but I have a photo. He's like getting teary eyed with me walking down the aisle. So we have both of those reactions.
Poor John.
I know. But I should print that photo out and put it on like the wall. Be like,
Yeah,
remember
let's-
this?
Then you have to prove.
Yeah.
Be like,
I
look,
should
you
prove-
were crying.
Do you remember this?
Let's
Yeah.
bring a photo of it next time.
Totally. Well, question number 3 is a garter toss. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Okay, I
Am
don't
the
know.
only one who said yes?
I said yes.
I said
You
yes.
said yes?
Yes.
Oh.
You said
Alright.
no?
Oh, I said no.
Oh, so we're the ones that are
Oh.
out. Okay, well, cheers.
Cheers to you two. I like the garter toss.
Mhm.
But I also would say this though. It's really up to the guy. If he's a very shy person, I would say don't do it. But if you're, loose and like to have fun, then by all means go for it. I think people get a little too intimidated because their family's around, but
Mhm.
it's a fun game. I like it. And it gives me a job too.
That's true. Why do you say no?
I mean, obviously, personal preference, right? Like,
Yes.
as with everything in weddings, everyone is different, like, do your own thing. But I think personally, I just find it so cringy. Like, and again, personally, like, I know it's something my fiance doesn't want to do in front of our families. Like, I would rather in our wedding, like, spend that time, like, allotted for more dancing or,
Mhm.
like, more engaging with guests or whatever. But I think as a guest, like, it's very entertaining and funny. So
is.
I think there's like no right way to do it.
Right.
It's just whatever you
It's just
wanna do.
personal preference.
Yeah,
Yes or no?
totally.
Yeah. It's not like a huge thing either. It's like if you don't do it, excuse me, don't do it. People aren't like, oh my gosh, I missed that. That's so sad.
Totally.
But it's also like, oh, if you do it, everyone's laughing. It's really funny.
right.
And it gives the DJ a job.
Yeah.
Hey, we need that job.
Okay, next question. So even number of bridesmaids and groomsmen. 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Really?
Okay, who said yes?
I said yes.
I said yes.
And we said no?
I said
Yeah.
Okay, why'd you guys say yes?
Well, for me, from my point of view, it really makes the lineup a lot easier when I'm introducing them,
Mm.
and it doesn't leave out that one third wheel walking in by themselves, which I think makes it very awkward.
Well, you can pair them in threes.
You could,
Mhm.
but a lot of times they leave them as the odd person out. You know what I mean? They're like, they bring in like 2 at a time and then they bring in 1 by themselves. And I feel kind of bad for that person. The other option you could always do if you don't want to do even numbers is if we're talking like grand entrance,
Mhm.
for example, bring out the ladies first, the
Mhm,
bridesmaids,
good
and then the
idea.
groomsmen by themselves, which I find to be fun as well.
That's what I did, and it was super fun.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to pair people up because I had uneven numbers. And so I'm like,
So
let's
there
just
you
do
go.
girls go first and
Yeah.
guys go next.
If you have an odd number, I would highly suggest that.
Yeah, totally. And then why do
Yeah.
you say yes to
I
even
like
numbers?
even numbers, and just like visually when you look at the photos,
Yeah.
it does look really nice. And
That is true.
the odd man out, I would feel bad like me thinking like, oh my gosh, why? I don't want them to think like, oh, why am I paired with the dog, or why am I going down the aisle by myself? So I just like want to make sure like I will find that extra person to make a
Yes.
couple. You
Totally.
know?
Yeah.
Totally. Agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, next question.
Wait, we got a drink.
Oh, yeah. You're almost done. Gotta save some for
I
the
am done.
cheers.
Oh, no.
Awesome. Well, I will do one more and then we'll do a formal toast. I know you like this one, so I'll do it. So, last question, open mic during toasts, yes or no?
No.
Yeah.
I have to count down. 3, 2, 1. No.
Yes.
You guys say yes?
Yes.
Oh, Drew's gonna hate you.
Wait, how many said yes?
I said yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
No.
No.
No. Oh, enjoy that. Enjoy that.
Good memories.
Okay.
Because someone's gonna say something, you know.
I'm just gonna
It is
tell you
good
this:
memories,
if they get
but-
a little toasty at your wedding, they're gonna be up there for a while, and they're gonna keep coming, and before you know it, you're like, wow, we've been going at toast for like the last half hour.
It's very
So-
entertaining.
Oh,
It is,
It's
yeah.
definitely
It is.
entertaining.
Just don't have them drop the mic, right?
Exactly.
Well, that was so fun. It was such a good episode. I learned a lot, and I'm already married, but I hope our viewers learned a lot from you guys as well. And I hope that we gave you guys advice too, now that you're getting married in a
Yes.
couple months and you're starting the planning. And
I
for your
learned so
future
much.
wedding, I hope you learned a lot too.
Couple things.
Yes.
Couple things. So at the end of our show, we always have the guest of honor make a toast. So, ladies, if you would please do the honors and give the
Yes.
honorary toast.
You can all give your toast since there's 3 of you.
Ari, we'll start with you.
Sure. Cheers to you guys. Thank you so much for having us on the pod. It's been so much fun. And cheers to wedding planning and just like for me, the last like 3 months, staying sane, and to the wedding and to your wedding as well.
Yes.
I second that. Cheers to you guys. Well, your wedding, and your marriages,
Thanks.
and your future marriage.
Yes.
I want to cheers to you too for having us on, and also to love and life changes.
Yes.
Cheers to
I want to ditto that. Thanks, Coral and Drew, for having us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and good luck to you, ladies, in your upcoming wedding. And cheers to new chapters.
Cheers to new
Cheers,
chapters.
guys.
Love
All right, guys.
it.
Until
Woohoo.
next time.
Until next time.
Have a good night.